Hi, so good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in. As the time permits, I'm starting. Good evening again. I'm very excited today to host these two lovely speakers, Manasa and Abhit. I am Anupriya Agarwal. I'm an entrepreneur and I own a company called Maxworth Impact. I also represent the Young Leaders Council of AIMA, and I am always excited when it comes to hosting and being a part of anything that AIMA and YLC does. So, welcome again. I will quickly introduce my speakers. We'll be asking them questions, and then we will also open the forum for questions by the audience. You can always raise your hands and we can take your views, reviews, questions, whatever. We will keep this very interactive. So to begin with, Manasa is the co-founder of Kind Life, India's fastest growing platform for wellness, nutrition, and beauty. She's passionate about leveraging technology to make well-being easier and more accessible worldwide. Kind Life caters to conscious consumers and addresses the massive $250 billion market for digital-first brands in India. With over 2 million visitors every month, Kind Life aims to make better living easy for young India. Consumers can shop from 800 plus toxin free, homegrown, and global brands that are kind to you and the planet. So basically, the promise is no toxins, no trolls, and no trash. Abhit, as seen in Shark Tank season 3 this year, is the co founder of Orbo. He believes in working with an entrepreneurial mindset, not just as an employee, but as a true owner. He contributes to the business of aspect of Orbo, and he also works to develop strategic plans and drive growth. Orbo is building an AI powered tool for beauty brands that increase loyalty, stickiness, and conversions. Orbo's beauty AI automation stack quickly adds a visual experience and personalization layer to any brand, e commerce, or retailer, allowing businesses to connect with their customers in a unique way. Abhit here understands and believes in the importance of balancing technical innovation with a strong business foundation to create a sustainable and successful venture. Again, I'm very excited and happy to welcome both of you. Welcome to the evening, and anything that both of you want to add before I start asking the questions? Abhit?
Really, thank you, Anupriya, and the team for bringing me into this interesting session. And I think this will be a very power-packed session, and we'll have a great discussion.
Thank you. Manasa?
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and super excited to chat for the next hour, around an hour.
Okay, so here I will start with Manasa. There is a very interesting line that I keep coming across whenever I log into Kind Life or the app or speak to Manasa. They say, "What's your kind move today?" So starting with that thought, Manasa, what was your kind move today, and what is the thought behind your venture, and how do you think have you simplified the whole business idea of wellness, beauty, sustainability into today's time?
Okay, my kind move today and always is right on my t-shirt. Always talk kind to me. As entrepreneurs, I think we find out that to be the hardest, a bit of an irony. But yeah, so I think for me today, it's going to be just talk kind to me. But I think we started off right after the pandemic. We were born out of the pandemic. We realized that customers are Indian consumers are want to buy better for you products, and there are brands that are selling that have the same set of values, but there was no platform that was actually simplifying it, simplifying discovery, simplifying curation, and that's where we started from. So we came because we were just, I think, as consumers, all three of us, my co-founders and I, realized that just no one's making better living easy, so let's just do that.
Okay, great. So if I continue this discussion to you, Abhit, I think both of you all are in the beauty sector, and Abhit, Orbo is connecting beauty to AI. So what inspired you to, again, the same question, what inspired you to get into the AI space? And what was the biggest hurdle, the technological hurdle that you faced? How did you simplify it?
So things started when I was studying in DC or DTU, whatever you call it, in my MTech times, and I was studying something called as pattern recognition, or the AI in the latest buzzword that we every day listen in any news form. So we were studying various aspects and various algorithms and mathematical things. I come from a R&D background. I'm a technologist at the core, and I was just learning all those stuff in those times. When I came out of college, that was in the 13 15 ish era. So we were just finding it out that how do we get all that knowledge into some kind of a product that the customer can actually visualize or use in the form of say what we call it, that this phone is powered by AI, this TV is powered by AI, or something of that sort. It was very difficult in those times to catch hold of the processing power, because everything in AI needs a big compute power. Now, bringing all those big GPUs and various big processors into the hands of the consumer, that was a very difficult task. Now, the thing is, we don't have the resources, and we have something very, very interesting that the consumer can actually have fun of, or maybe can be modulated in terms of a business or any kind of usage for that matter. So that was the biggest hurdle that came into existence in those times. How did we solve that? We tried to use the tech. We simplified a lot of those technologies into simplified formats. So I got experience with Intel, Cisco, and I have been working with various chip manufacturers to the crude level. So I could understand how things work inside the GPU, how the algorithms can be tuned to make that AI small enough so that the customers at the end of the day can gain benefit of it. So that was the time where we just cracked the AI component and put it inside browsers, mobile phones, and laptops of the consumer, and got into this business. Coming to the question that why, how did we start this beauty AI concept? So in those times itself, the mobile phone was being sold on the mere basis of how the camera was. And in those times, again, the phone was sold with a very, very basic thing. I'll just go to a showroom, I'll just pick up a phone, I'll take a selfie. If I look beautiful inside it, then the phone is sold. I'll buy it. I'll not go and check for what brand it is and what spec it is belonging to and whatnot. I am looking beautiful. Yeah, it's good for any social media post. That was the thing behind it. We just clicked it, and we saw that over the past 30, 40, 50 years, the makeup industry, which is responsible for making people look good and beautiful to various extents, that has not evolved in terms of technology. The sales process has been same over these decades. Now we were into the AI space, we were into optimizing AI, and definitely the beauty space, because we were supplying beauty tech to the smartphone industry. That cracked the ball for us, where we started making makeup, then skin analysis, and then whatnot in the same era. And that was the start point for us, and that's how we got into the beauty AI business.
Interesting, interesting. So, when you say that how the idea came and that's what made you start, could you just throw some light on how did you identify what was your initial market segment? What were the adjustments that you had to make to scale your business, or did you also shift your initial market segment to others? You've come for Shark Tank as well. So could you just answer that? I mean, how did you target your initial market? Did you make a shift later on? And what was your strategy to scale your business?
Yeah. So initially, so we are three founders, me, Danish, and Manoj. We were working together before Orbo together, and we were solving various mobile phone aspects in terms of the camera. So we wanted the DSLR type photography to come into the market of mobile phones. So that everyone can explore and become a photographer at the end of the day, and making life easy as such, because editing was also a big aspect of the industry. Because if the photos are not edited properly, then that photo cannot be posted on social media or any of the platforms, whatever you say. So that was the basic background that we were building. And then we realized that we have odd 100 players worldwide when it comes to smartphone cameras. Okay, so the market size was not very big, and when it comes to making people beautiful on the mobile phones, there was a good scope going into various ventures. For example, a video conferencing platform or various other platforms where the four humans face is involved. So that was the basic business that we were building before Orbo. Orbo came into existence when we tried to see that this is makeup, and makeup has a big market for itself because it has various aspects. First, as I said, the marketing strategy and the sales aspect did not change for decades. The second aspect is every makeup manufacturer, every brand has a very high CAC. For the audience, CAC is basically the cost spent by a company to grab a customer, to sell the product to a customer, so that they can just become loyal to some brand. So that was very high, and it is still date a very big number to say. We saw there's a big gap, so we needed to decrease that CAC for the brands, and at the same time we needed some experience factor to come into play, so that there is a differentiating factor for the consumers to go into a mall or maybe a mobile phone or maybe a website and purchase makeup. Also, there is a very big plus point that COVID gave us. COVID came with a bang that nothing can be touched, and it is very hyper personalized to things that we cannot touch anything because everything is infectious. Now that gave us the boost that everything can be done virtually, and that was the space where we belonged. We had makeup try-ons, we had hairstyle try-ons, we had hair color try-ons, so we had skin analysis for various aspects, so that the skin business can be grown to various extents. This is how we got into the pivot shift of just enhancing the images to making a pivot into the makeup industry, and building a AI era and an experience platform for various brands to explore. So yeah, that was how things changed. Coming to the third point, as you said, how did we scale it? So scaling is where you need to be very hyper personalized, because the things have changed from being generic to being personalized. At the same time, the second aspect is increasing the touch points where the customer is coming through. Now, the first point is that everyone was initially just banging on the websites. Let it be Maybelline, maybe let it be Lakme. Everyone was just focusing on the website. Then came an era of applications where iPhone applications, Android applications were the top of the hill. Everyone was making an application of their own. Then came the concept of e-commerce, where there was one application building things for various brands. We saw all these, we understood what is required, and the thing what is required is an omni-channel distribution channel. You need to be ready for any kind of customer that can be just that can just interact with you. They have any source, and that source comes to you at the end of the day. So that is what is required. So you need to be omni-channel. The biggest hit that went live was we got into mirrors. Now that was a different channel altogether, because we were on website, we were on APIs, cloud infrastructures, Android applications, all not. We came up with our own magic mirrors. They have been deployed in retail stores, because even today 70% of the shopping goes into retail, and that's the place where the customer is coming and not seeing us. So we brought the mirror, and we saw that shift into the sales, like tremendous ones. The customer is the vendor that we are working with, let it be Martyrdom in the Spain, or maybe Shopper Stop in Maharashtra or anywhere. Everyone came with one note to me that my sales have gone up 2x, 3x, 4x in months time. So the key aspect for scale, I think, what worked for us and may work for many in the market, is being omnidirectional, so that people can come to you.
Okay. I think that makes sense. That makes sense when we speak of how exactly we are executing and scaling in the market. And coming to you, Manasa, Abhit spoke of brand loyalty. He spoke of a lot of being omnipresent. He spoke of sustaining the market and the business, people's choices. So, Kind Life delves into beauty, it delves into wellness, it delves into sustainability, giving ethical products. Now, looking at certain scenarios, like people already have when it comes to makeup, when it comes to wellness, when it comes to beauty, the millennials would have their brand loyalty. The Gen Zs would be experimental. So, what do you think helped you to one, decide your market segment? Even if it was obvious that whether it is beauty, it is wellness, you kind of get an obvious market segment. How did you stick to your values of ethical products, sustainable products, and what helped you grow and what helped you get people to be loyal to your brand and your products and your website?
Okay, that's a loaded question. I'll answer it one part at a time. So first, let's start with the consumer. If you actually look at where India's consumption economy is growing, just from a data perspective, almost 50% of, and you can look at any report, 7 trillion, 8 trillion, 9 trillion. And if you see that more than 50% of the growth is coming from upper middle class and high income cohort. And within that, actually, it's interesting that the move to better for you products is where the movement is. So people are either buying better, buying newer categories, or they are buying newer formats. So what that means is it could be Ayurveda, but in a form that never existed earlier. Can I get a mint that I can eat, or can I get something else, right? So either newer formats, they're buying better, or they're buying new. So they're buying adjacent categories which didn't exist earlier. What that means is that, it's not just sunscreens as a category. Under sunscreen, what is the kind of sun? Are people buying sunsticks? Are people buying? So these are the two main customer trends that you can see. And a large part of it is actually driven by a younger audience. India has 700 million Gen Zillennials, late millennials, early Gen Z cohort, and they're the first generation that has been born into the internet and has access. It's a digital first audience, which just changes everything. A 20-year-old sitting in Madurai has the same access to information, to brands, to creators, to music, as a 20-year-old sitting in the middle of Manhattan, which makes it a level playing field for them to discover. And this is a values first and a value first consumer. So, is the brand talking to me like me is very, very important. Does the brand stand for the same set of values that I stand for is very important. So that is more from identifying where we knew the categories, where we knew who's the consumer. And we were very clear that young India is who we're building for. The second part of your question was about curation and sustainability. The curation process on Kind Life is actually very robust. We have 800 brands on the platform. Categories wise, it's on the body, in the body, around the body. So beauty, personal care, nutrition, and wellness. But our idea is of how do you get the best of global as well as Indian brands that align with a set of values. So number one, for a brand to make the cut, it has to be Kind Code approved. So it has to be either plant-based, organic, toxin-free, eco-conscious, or cruelty-free. So that is baseline. Second is we've built it out completely in a very large way where we look at ingredients. So we know, and we refer to EWG, Environmental Working Group, and we've built out a clean score where we know that if an ingredient in what form, in what format is good, this makes the cut. If it is high hazardous, then it will not make the cut. So there are brands that we have where we will not have the entire list because the brand might make the cut, but these set of products don't make the ingredients. And third, to tell you about the sustainability, I think what's really important is when you're, and this kind of marries into the last point about why customers come to you. I think authenticity is key. When someone is shopping on Kind Life, they know that we have you do not get anything in a single-use plastic. You get it in recyclable packaging. We also have a very strong empties program called Kind Circle. So if you used any beauty product or any food product ever, you can actually clean up the box and send it back to us and we'll recycle it. So, and that's where we're like, okay, it doesn't matter where you shop from, but let's make that post-purchase process easier for you. So we have multiple checks to ensure that the customer knows how and what they are buying. the third thing about what is it that makes people love Kind Life, I think it is we are we look very different, and we are talking in a different language. We talk like Gen Z, a younger audience, because that's my consumer. And what that also means is being authentic. Authenticity is a word that is sounds very floozy, but the truth is that that really drives why a customer will love your brand. Do you stand for what I stand for? Do you stand for what you say? And for us, that authenticity goes across the spectrum. If you are buying, if you come on Kind Life and you're shopping, I need to ensure that when you're shopping and my product page, when you're buying, looking at a product, you need to know what is the ingredient, you need to know what the clean score is for it, you need to know where is it from, etc. So authenticity is across the board, and I think that also translates into things that you don't know. The idea is that you have to make it easy for the customer to be able to, hey, listen, this is what it is, this is what you stand for, this is what you're going to get. So I think that is one reason why customers love us. They discover us. I think the second is obviously in terms of curation. We are very, very big in Asian beauty, in Korean beauty specifically. And customers come to us because they know that it's going to be brand sourced. It's not a dupe that you're going to get. We're very particular. The experience that you have on the platform before, after purchase is also very critical. It's important that we bring the best of brands, global and homegrown, to you. And that's why customers, because they come and they discover cross category. If there is a customer who's vegan, then that translates into cross categories. It's not just one category that they're buying, right? So they stick to us because they say, hey, listen, skincare, it's there, I'm also able to buy food, and I'm also able to buy everything. So they're shopping across. That's what they like. And I think the fourth thing is also who really talks about you and who champions for you. We have a very large creator program that we run, where you have key opinion consumers. These could be nano micro creators, these could be experts. They're a part of our community. That's the largest thing. Our community is 500,000 across all platforms, and our kind champions are really truly the flag bearers, where they talk about us. They talk about, hey, I discovered this product, it's really great, I tried this didn't work for me, etc. And then their micro communities end up discovering us, and they're across. They could be on Reddit, they could be on Instagram, they could be on Telegram. So there are, from curation to customer to brand to who is the one who's really talking about you, everything encompasses why a consumer loves you. I wish it was as easy to say, hey, this is the one thing, because it helps marketers double down on that as well as a success metric. But it's an amalgamation of everything.
Yeah, I think as a marketer, I can definitely say that I've been doing for last 12 years now, I've been doing social media, branding, marketing for brands. And you've already answered what I was going to ask next, that, recently, because, and I'm also asking this because Abhit has been featured in Shark Tank. Latest statements and questions that I'm hearing from people are that, what is the right way to market a brand, or what is the right way to market a firm, a brand, a startup, whether it is coming in Shark Tank, and even if you don't get anything, you get free marketing, or is it getting to know the brands through creators, through influencers, or is it as you said, it's an amalgamation of everything. Still, Abhit, I would want to know from you in a single statement that if it is an amalgamation of everything, but what has worked most for Orbo? And then from you, Manasa, as you already have pointed out, that creators is something, people talking about you genuinely, authentically is what has worked. But still, if you could just both of you summarize in one line that in terms of marketing, what has worked? Is Shark Tank your reason to be famous, or it's an amalgamation of everything, Abhit? And then we'll go to Manasa.
I would say that Shark Tank has been a catalyst to the whole process that we have been through over the years. But definitely, Mansa and I come from different background. As to say, she runs a D2C brand, what I know, and we are into a B2B business primarily. So things could be different from on both the ends. But definitely one thing is for sure that things are related in the similar way. So various big brands that we work, they are my customers. So the main psychology of a customer does not change whether it is a business or a consumer. Ultimately they also have to sell it to their consumers at the end of the day. So things are very similar on both ends, but definitely, yeah, you need to be honest with what you are selling. You need to be really conscious about what is being said as a brand. And definitely at the end of the day, the use case has to be solved in the primary bracket of what is required in the market.
Right. And Manasa, what about you?
I think marketing has, I'm going to use more than one line for this. I've been in this space for a while, and I think what your key modes were for channels has really changed. I started my career with offline, and I was a media planner, and I used to work on offline and TV mein kya jayega and print mein kya jayega world. And I think that what has really changed is that how the customer is discovering you. So that has really impacted the channels of discovery. Social media used to be a Facebook page for a company like 10 years ago. Right now, you can't not have the brand extend its identity to social media. So I think while it is a mix for us, definitely having a unique voice and having the curation. Just how even when you come onto Kind Life, how you're discovering the products is really different. How we merchandise it is very different. But yes, social media is, and this is a absolutely shameless plug-in for to everybody to go and follow Kind Life to know what I'm talking about. But the truth is that, it's an extension of the authenticity point that I was making, because that's been a key discovery point for us. And when you come on this site, so I think it's a mix of content and community and just the selection and the curation that we've done for the customer. And because it's a good mix of both and it fits, that's why the stickiness is there.
Okay. I think the very valid point here that also got highlighted was that whether it is it also depends on whether it's a B2B business or a D2C business. So I think these are the kind of discussions that as a marketer I always have. And as an entrepreneur, I'm sure that people, because our sessions are all about ideas to execution. So people have a lot of ideas, but I think it's just that you have to be very mindful of what will apply to your business and what will apply to your audience and what will make you authentic and discoverable.
Correct.
Okay. So, every day we say trends are changing. Every day there is a new technology. You learn something today and tomorrow it becomes obsolete. So, Manasa, what do you think in the wellness industry, in the beauty industry, or in the technology space? What are these new trends which will shape up startups in the coming times in your sector, or which will shape up Kind Life and startups like Kind Life?
So for us, and everyone talks about AI, but it's also it's something that is central to what the largest change is going to be. And I think there it comes to what is it that you're solving with, and how are you fixing it with the technology. For us, when we look at AI as central and tech as central, the idea is how do I simplify multi-touch points. So how do I simplify discovery? So when you come on to Kind Life, you can talk to Kiki.ai. Kiki's a bird. And you can talk to Kiki.ai. She's going to give you all the information that you need across content, across products, ingredients, etc. You can do a skin analyzer test, which tells you everything in terms of, what your skin age is, what if you have curly hair, what is the products that you need. So one is that channel for customer to be able to discover. So AI solving for that. And also just operationally, right? I think that's that's a massive focus on how does technology solve for a lot of operations, where you look at, if I'm solving this at scale, then what is it going to do for all the parties around, whether it is the brands that are on Kind Life, whether it is just logistics that work, whether it is the post-purchase experience for the customer, whether it is the purchase experience to begin with for customer, whether it's customer support, etc. So I think but AI in terms of for us will be 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think essentially what AI is solving for is scale, ease, for both the person who's on this side as well as on that side.
Interesting. Thank you. And Abhit, so as we say that every day technology is changing, so what do you think works for Orbo? What do you think which industry trend is going to work for any startup like Orbo? And how will you help Orbo to be at the top in these industry trends?
Yeah, definitely the technology is changing every day, and there are various latest uh, trending things coming in, buzzing, and which will disrupt some market, and will make a full stop for many to evolve into the same space. Or various things are happening around technology, and it's being the driving force for a few years now. Definitely. So we could see in our journey itself, like the first example that I gave, that we brought the magic mirror into the retails. That was the first technology shift that we brought in, that none of our competitors around the world have actually brought into the world till date. And the second shift that I can just explain, that we launched Beauty GPT on Shark Tank India season 3. So that was the first B2C product that we came into, and that was a completely different technology. And again, we were the first one in the world to have something of that sort. It's actually a personal beauty advisor, because there's a single pain point at the end of the day. Let it be a technology business, let it be a D2C business, or end of the day, you need to know how the business works around. What is the new thing, and there's a problem statement for us, or for Mansa. There's something that the customer is looking for, making the skin beautiful, or maybe solving some skin issue on the face. These are the majorly two aspects where the beauty is revolving around, or maybe the hair, the third part. Now, where are we today, and how many problems have been solved till date, and what is left? It is a very simple mathematics. What can be done to reach that everything has been solved? There's nothing in the space to explore more. So that is the space. When you know that this has been done and this is what is left, what new you can do in that? So we try to find out the same thing. So you can buy a beauty product, you can buy a skin aging cream, or any beauty product for that matter. What is the main concern of the person? If even you have a lipstick, a mascara, a blush, an eyeshadow, but how do you apply that? How would you look good? Because how much to apply, how minor to apply, where to apply, what pattern to apply, there are various aspects to looking good with the makeup and looking not so good with the same makeup products. So there's a big gap between that. That's where we are pitching in with the Beauty GPT product, which was again a new domain that we have entered in the technology space. That is solving that you need this look, and you need these products to get this look, and this is how you achieve this look. So these are the three aspects of it. So we got into this play, got the technology in, saw there was a business opportunity, and got it. And as the marketing question, that was the previous one, we saw that we are going into Shark Tank. So that would be the biggest platform to market our Beauty GPT, because
Okay.
it being the first B2C product that we were coming up with.
Interesting. So, I think before I ask the audience to throw in their questions, there's just one thought that is coming to my mind quickly. I would want both of you to address it before the questions are being answered or after. When I was reading about both of you, you both have a team of three founders, co-founders, right? You're one of them. So, I would want to now or later talk about teamwork. Both of you, if you would like to comment that how important it is to keep up with your teams when working in a startup, and how difficult or easy it is from 1 person, 2 person. Did you start with three, or you started with one and then came up to three? And like what light do you want to throw on teamwork as far as a startup is concerned?
Abhit, you can start.
Sure. So we started together. So me with my other two founders, we were working together in the last company. That company was called as Brandfee, and that's how we got each other, and started this idea of a beauty AI product and formed Orbo. Now coming up to the next question, that the how the team is formed, and what is required in the team, and various aspects around it. I think the biggest challenge is putting up the right team together for any startup. Your ideas could be big, small, or anything, but if your team is not right, the execution is going to be haywire at the end of the day. And when I say that good team is going to be hired, I don't mean that you just go into the market and hire all the MBAs from IIM and all the engineers from IIT. That's not what I'm coming to. I mean to say that the team is a team that works together, lives together, and performs together, who can just help each other in absence of say me or my founders. So basically, I wanted to develop a team that is a football team rather than a cricket team, where everyone can just swap roles and perform at the end of the day. At the same time, what is very important, it is that the attitude of the person that I'm hiring and who is a part of the team is key. The person may or may not know the skills. I'm ready to have no skills inside the person, just an attitude that he will be learning, and he has an attitude of teamwork, and who I can just build the whole structure around him so that he can become an internal founder at the end of the day. Every teammate that I have inside the company is actually considered as a founder, because they should have the ability that, okay, this is my company and this is how it works, and blah 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 blah, whatever we do in marketing operations XYZ. Every member is very important. Generally telling you, I respect every team member as my brothers, sisters, or because when I feel related to them, I understand what are their challenges, and at the end of the day, they repay me back with their work and with their satisfaction layer. That, okay, this is job defined for me. I will do it. If they are not capable of doing it, there's a third person who is also standing there as a founder, not being a founder, but as mentally stand that this is the work being deployed for Orbo, and if someone is not capable, I'll help them. And this is how the team culture is built, and this is built at day one. You cannot build this culture at day 1000 or 2000. It has to be curated on day one, that what is the team going to be. And I don't say that this is the culture that every company should have, but this is what I feel, and I have experienced that it has worked for me. And definitely, if it has worked for me, I think it should work for everyone.
Definitely. Manasa, what do you have to say?
For me, Vidit, Radhika, and I go back almost a decade. Radhika is extremely accomplished, and in her previous, she used to run Shop Clues before this. She was the founder of Shop Clues. Vidit and I used to work in her team actually. Spent many years working under her leadership, and she's been a mentor always. We serendipitously, but kind of came together because in COVID, both of us had made calls to her with something on our mind, and we kind of decided we should do it together. I think in my case, I'm 100% dependent on them in many ways, in the sense of we coexist in a, we work to our strengths. The three of us have different strengths, and so that's why that translates into the domains of work that we do, which changes between us. But we've known each other for so long that the tuning is also very strong. So when you see the larger picture of what you're doing, and then that's just central. That's the only truth that matters. Is it good for the company? Is it good for the brand? Is it good for why we're doing what we're doing? That's it. Nothing else really matters. And you can only do that when the sync is strong enough to know that it just doesn't matter. And I think that's the beauty of it. I would not have it any other way. I would not do it any other way. Both of them have been entrepreneurs in the past. It's actually my first gig as an entrepreneur. So I came in with none of that experience, but it's really important to be having that support system around you as well. So I do think that as founders, we're also really, into the, you have to keep your eyes on the larger thing, but you're also sucked into the daily of OTP and internet nahi chal raha hai and all of that, right? And it could be a whatever version of that. So I think it kind of helps you to take a step back and someone give you a perspective. And I completely agree. I think it's about the kind of team you built. I think the average age in the office is probably 23, 24. We might be skewing it as millennials, but we're building for a Gen Z consumer. So we have that team internally. And they're a very different, very, very different generation to work with. And I think that gives me also a lot of impetus and a lot of excitement that, okay, this is just not how I used to work, or this was not the process of, and we have a very young team that is just passionate about what they're doing. And I think when you're at a startup, the only thing that really matters is ownership. If you can, even if you are the smartest person in the room, but you don't have that sense of ownership that I want to get it done, and you don't show up every day and don't have the grit, it's not going to work out for both. Because nobody needs to tell you what to do, right? So I think it's you have to find the right people, and I've really lucked out with my co-founders. And it's a sync of, it's know each other for over a decade, which translates into that.
I think, once I summarize the session, I just have these words loudly being spoken about: authenticity, discovering yourself, staying true to your team, looking at the smaller things and the larger things together. So I think today I'm going to take back a lot. Whatever you said about team building, I also remember Rekha ma'am's words. Rekha Sethi is the Director General for AIMA. Even she says the same things: taking ownership, taking accountability, trusting young people. So whenever I meet her, I was just remembering what she keeps talking about. I think it definitely makes sense. We already have some questions coming up. K. Vinod Verma says that, Manasa, what is the best digital media platform for your products? And what do you have to say about your pricing strategy to keep up in the market? If you would want to throw some.
I'm sorry, I don't get the first part of the question. Could you just repeat that?
They are asking about the digital platform, the digital media platform that has worked the best for you.
So, if you are running a B2C business, and I think even for B2B, if you're everything, all your eggs are in the basket of performance marketing, that basket is just gonna in no time, because Abhit was talking about CAC. That cannot be the only place that drives everything, because customer acquisition cost is too high. So for us, it has been a mix of many things. From in digital, obviously there is a baseline of performance marketing that you do, but what everything else was a plus on top of that. Social is a really big channel for us. Content becomes a very important way to discover. So that's number one. We also work with a lot of creators, and in the community, that has also been really big. So social commerce and content has been a very large part for both discovery as well as conversion. And these have been channels that was not how it was a few years ago. So that's your first part of your question. The second part is pricing strategy. So because we're highly curated and we are completely brand sourced, you don't have sellers selling it. So pricing is two ways, right? Number one is you already know the baseline of price that is there in terms of just an MRP, and it's not going to be something that you can fiddle around with. But the thing is that India is value conscious. And this is across. You could be, if you get a certain % discount, would you move? Now, what that cost of moving doesn't have to be just the percentage discount. It could be any other advantage I'm getting. It could be as a loyal customer, if I'm getting something, it could be better convenience, it could be anything, but there is a certain value that I have attached to it. For us, we are very mindful of that as well. So we do really exciting stuff in innovative ways to say that, okay, at this time, this part of the day, or like this part of the month, we'll do this kind of sale. That part, we'll do that part, where for a few days you get something really exciting. And we've launched live commerce, live shopping on the app. There are some days where you just get insanely amazing deals. But
yes, I have been a part of one of them. So just to tell the audience, what happens is that you can shop on the website, but also if you're a part of the app, Manasa keeps talking on Instagram Live, and you can just avail several discounts and keep ordering on the app. So I think that works.
Thank you. So we do a lot of that where we've done a lot of mix and match. We understand what works for what kind of audience. And pricing is a function of many things. Pricing is also a function of where you are in terms of supply. How much do you have that's differentiated? How much do you have that's same? Does the product exist on other platforms? If there is a sale going on an Amazon or any other beauty platform, how competitively are you priced? So it's a mix of many things, but it is about bringing the best value to the customer.
Okay. So I think that answers your question, Mr. Verma. We have two people asking almost the same question, and I would direct it to you, Abhit. There is Mr. Shenai and Mr. Ansari who talk about failure. One says that how do you manage the risk of failure during your initial phase? And the other says who will bear the responsibility of AI failure. So, and since your whole idea is very different, before starting the call, I had actually gone to the website, and because I'm a no makeup person per se, I was trying different colors of lipstick and rose on my face through the website. So, what and how do you think your team is going to manage failure, and how do you think you perceive failure on part of AI?
That's a very interesting question, and I love answering this one, especially on various sessions that I hold. So, from a different aspect, I'll just answer that. So, failure is very, very important, and I am really happy to say that the more failures that you face, the better business that you build. That's the whole play that I am building. So basically, everyone says that Edison made that bulb 1,000 times, and that's a very, very, very famous quote. Every entrepreneur, I think Mansa will actually agree to what I'm telling. When you fail your business 100 times, then only the 101th product is being accepted into the market, and that is where you say, okay, this ye chal gaya. This is going to work out. Every day, every engineer that I hold in the company, every marketing campaign that I hold, every operations that I'm going through inside the company, there, whenever it is failing, it is giving me input that this was a point where the business was going to die down. It is good that I'm getting it on the early phase, and it is better if I do the risk analysis at the start, instead of going too late that the business is going to fall at the end of the day. So this is what is the best practice that we do at our end, that anything that we are going up, in fact, inside the three co-founders that we are, any idea that is coming up, the other one becomes the devil's advocate. How do I fail the business? In Someone else is failing the business, before that I'm going to fail the business, because when I'm failing it, I know the problem, and knowing the problem is actually 50% solution that is going to make your business successful. So it is better to fail multiple times to become a better person, and definitely that is the enjoyable part. When you have a successful business, there's nothing to roam around with. Okay, what to do next? I have a lot of customers, and I'm making a lot of profits. That's the best part, when you're failing then making a success. So that you need to learn every day. If there's no failure, you're not learning, and if you're not learning, things are too stabilized for you, and that is not the reality. If it is too stabilized, there is a big problem inside the setup. Let it be technology, let it be operations, marketing, or the founders itself.
Oh, I think there's a very basic line which my father keeps saying as an entrepreneur. He's been an entrepreneur for the last 35 years. He says अगर बहुत शांति है और कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, if nothing is happening, then something is wrong. If हलचल, the hustle is till you hustle, it's all good. Till you don't feel the peace and the silence, I think everything is good.
And that's the best part of being an entrepreneur. If you enjoy this hustle of being failed and then coming up again and then again failing, and then when this graph goes like this, that's the fun part. And if an entrepreneur or anyone in the audience is an upcoming entrepreneur, if you're ready for it, just jump into it.
Interesting. Interesting. So, Manasa, you want to add something to that?
No, I think yeah, you fail and then what? I mean, a lot of it is the fear of the unknown. But you know, the only thing that's in your hand, and it's a little I don't mean it in a preachy way, but to be very honest, all you can do is your job. So input variable is the only thing that you have control of anyway. So if you remove the fact that output is in your hand, which is true, and this, it doesn't matter if not only entrepreneur or otherwise, right? The risk to reward ratio just changes because you really have no control. So if you've done the part, and I think the problem is not a failing. Maybe that is also the change that happens when you are running a startup or when you're in a startup, because you don't, yeah, it doesn't work, but do you bounce back and come back and understand what went wrong and fix it? That is the larger part. Feeling and all, I don't think anybody really knows the secret sauce of 100% success without
No,
failing,
I think
without.
that is bound to happen. And with
Yeah.
as we spoke continuously, we spoke about authenticity. We spoke about trends changing every day, new things coming up. I think that is definitely bound to happen.
I
We
would
have
like to
another.
add to
Yeah,
what Mansa said, and it just clicked my mind.
yeah.
So one more thing, what is very much important is that just to keep that ego aside, that okay, I am the CEO, I am head of something, and this is what I think, and this is correct. You need to absorb things from the world. You need to absorb things from your customers, your client, your teammates, and your founders, definitely.
Abhit,
So
you can work with Gen Z and they will really, yeah, every day is I'm getting trolled by the team. So they really keep you grounded, or they keep you, it's a reality check every day.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is correct. That
absolutely.
is correct.
That's absolutely correct. I think so just for the audience, there's a platform where we've all met, Abhit, Manasa, and I, and half of them were Gen Zs in a university. So I definitely believe that they will keep you on your toes. Quickly, I'll take another question which has come from Tamanna. She says that how do we fast build trust as a new brand or startup? So my question is, can we do that? Can we really build the trust fast? If not, then what is the solution? If yes, then how? And how new? I mean, till when can we call a brand new? That is my question. I am completing my 5 years next month. I still call myself a newborn. So first question is, till when can we call a brand as new? And is there a way to build fast trust on people?
I think, where does trust come from? So what is it that makes something, a brand, person, whatever, trustworthy, right? Number one is that what you signed up is what you got. So just transparency. So when you're building a brand, and this could translate into any form, whether it is when you're shopping on the platform, when you're talking to somebody, when you're talking to, all of that. So it could be in any form, irrespective. And I'm keeping it agnostic to the industry because that's how it is. So number one is transparency. Number two is just efficacy of your products and what you stand for. So if you have told that this will change your skin in 20 days, if it does that, anyway, trust is going to be built because you've experienced first-hand success. And the success adds up to what you have said. So that's number two, in terms of really, do you stand for what, just the product itself, does it stand for the efficacy? Most important thing, right? And third is also, who are the heroes who are talking about you? Going back to the social commerce angle, where for us, we have people who'll be like, okay, this is not a great product. So the community will be like, okay, I listen to you. If you're following an influencer and if they say something, you think, okay, they are the standard that I want to follow or will listen to. Do they stand for it or not? And for them, again, it becomes the combination of the first two. Did they have a good experience? Did they see the impact, etc.? So I think trust is a function of many things. Can it be built quickly? I don't know if that's possible. I don't think that is possible at all. Because just the process of experience is, I have used this product 4 times and it has worked well for me, just changes the narrative about the value of trust. Instead of I used it the last time and it worked for me, right? So that just gives you more weight if it is over time. But yes, trust is the most important thing because it also leaves space for the customer to forgive you if it didn't work. So, you're like, okay, today I had a bad day and I think Tatas have done a great job, right? You walk into Taj and you just know that your experience is going to be top notch. And if you have a bad experience, you're like, yeah, it's fine. It's built with the thing that trust is just that, right? That I'm coming in knowing that it'll be great. But so over time it gets built. So that's the answer to trust. And secondly, you were saying how new is a brand. Um, I don't know. I don't know if there is a. I think it takes a couple of years, definitely. And unfortunately or fortunately, when you're building a digital first company, for a digital first audience, you assume a lot of what you see is, uh, yeah, it's working great. It's all of that. But then you look back and you see, okay, it's taken a few years to get here. It's taken a lot of the failures that we were talking about. It's taken a lot of iterations, because you hear back from the customer, right? Which makes just changes everything. So even if you've been in the game for 3 years, the fact is that you pivoted or made multiple changes because in year one, 5 people told you that this is five as a number, but like, that this didn't work. Then you changed it. Then you became better. Then you became better. So, how old is a new brand? I don't know. I wish I had a deep answer to that.
Okay, Abhit.
Yeah, so to the trust part. So basically the trust, definitely Mansa said it very precisely, that what it means to gain trust for the customer, the value proposition, the demand, the what is required, and it's being delivered, and the expectations are being matched or not. That's definitely the first part. Now the second part is, what is an assumption of a customer versus what has been delivered. The brand has delivered the correct thing for X assumption, mindset of people, and when the mindset of the people is different and they are buying your product with a different, all of a certain different output that you are expecting of your product, your lotion, or whatever it is, for that you call as a product, then the expectation fails. It is not that the product was bad, it was not that the brand was bad. Now how do you match that your customer has the same expectation that the product is going to deliver? That's the part that is important according to me. That's where we come into play, as we provide like beauty gpt or various skin analysis products that we deal with. So for example, if a person is having a flaky skin, the person will go to a friend, and the friend is telling, okay, use some xyz brand moisturizer and it will solve your problem. But it is a very generic statement. You don't know it will solve or not, because what is the main concern behind the skin? Now when the person is applying that and it is not solving the problem, the ex person, the friend, actually suggested a very good thing because it worked for that person. It will not work for this person, maybe or may not. If it does not work, then the person will say this brand is a very bad brand, or the product, this specific product of this brand does not work for anything. Now that is the brand, you lose the trust in the brand or the product at the end of the day. Now where we come into play, we say, because this is the issue on your face, we have detected it. Don't listen to your friend. Your moisturizer is only one third of the solution. You need a regime, you need a sunscreen, you need a night cream, and you need a moisturizer. When you use this regime as a package, you will see some effect. Then after 30 days, the person is seeing that, okay, my flaky skin has gone away. Now the trust in the person has gone up. Now how do you increase that trust inside the person is the main job, because your product is great, every product is great. It has to be mapped to what the requirement of the customer is. If the customer is not getting that product for their requirement, perfect requirement, then definitely there is a trust break that is going to happen. And that's where the brand needs to change the pivot for every customer. And that's why I initially called that the market is changing in a way that you need to be hyper personalized to everyone, because these Gen Z are very finicky about what is going to work and what is not going to work.
Okay. So, because we are falling short of time, there were many more questions that are coming up. Maybe we can do another offline session later with the YLC and AIMA team. But if I summarize the whole 1 hour discussion, I think I've heard words like authenticity, being omnipresent, being discoverable, having your own set of values, your own set of trust values, deciding for your own self, working with the team. So I think there is no hard and fast rule of or a black and white set of rules as to how a startup or an entrepreneur might work. But yes, there are a lot of trial and error methods. There are a lot of values which I think we have been carrying from age-old belief systems, age-old working systems that I think works for all. And as far as technology and AI is concerned, it is definitely not a threat. It is evolving every day. It is on us to use it to the best possible use. To kind of end this session, there is just a rapid fire question, and you have to pick one. So if I say, what would you attribute your success to, Manasa? Whether it is coming to the market at the right time, pick one, okay? Or it is your experience and doing everything gradually within years. Coming to the market at the right time, or just doing things as per your experience with your team within the year. What worked for you more?
Very tough to answer because we had the experience, we are able to capitalize on coming to the market for the first time. I mean, at the right time. So even if you come to at the market, but you can only do with that because of the
Because
experience.
of your experience. Abhit, you.
There should be a third option, both.
No, you have to pick
All the
one.
above.
You have to pick one now. Yeah. So
Okay.
what do you think, Abhit? You'll also have to pick, like Manasa did.
Okay. Okay, I think that experience is more important because with times the requirements and the business aspect will every day change. From 5 days, 5 years now, from 10 years from now, things in the business industry or the technology, it is going to evolve. And at the end of the day, what we have experienced, and that will help us show that at what time, what kind of pivot has to be taken.
I completely agree with you. I think that
Oh,
if you have that as a trait, then you can put in different contexts and adapt and quickly change and grow.
perfect.
There is
I think it's a
every
good
time is
thought.
good for business.
Yeah.
I think that's a very good thought. That's a very good thought to summarize. Thank you so much, both of you, Abhit and Manasa. Thank you so much, audience, to give me those interesting questions. Manish says, Anupriya, all this while I thought you are one of the models for Orbo. All this while I believe that you're one of the model face of Orbo website. So I think I've also got my compliment for the session today. Thank you, Rhythm and AIMA and YLC team for coordinating this session. Have a great evening, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having us. Thank you.
Thank you.